It's time to get your geek on with Dave Gramillion.
So Star Trek Discovery Season 2 with the furry Spock will be coming out next week.
No, comes out Thursday.
This coming Thursday. You're right. This coming Thursday. Sunday, turn the calendar. And so I was writing up my notes here, and I'm like, other than Discovery, there's not really a lot of big Trekkie news. And that was Monday. And then the rest of the week hit, and it was just news after news after news after news. The first bit of news we got is not totally confirmed, but really should not come as a shock to anybody either. It's that Star Trek, the fourth movie of what is called the JJ Verse, is dead. It's officially been shelved. We had Star Trek in 2009, which rebooted the franchise, and that movie grossed more than like 3 other movies combined. I think 3 or 4. I think it's 3 movies than any 3 other movies combined. It was a huge box office smash hit. So of course, what do? They make another one. And then Star Trek Into Darkness came around, and oh my God, that was a train wreck. That was not that good of a movie.
If y'all could see Goose, he's having a heart attack right now.
Well, here's the thing about the 2009 Star Trek.
It had plot holes the size of a starship.
With every other movie, you had to have some built-in equity in the series, because you were dealing with characters that have had years upon years of development.
Sure.
When 09 hit, you didn't need to know a darn thing.
Oh, they did a good job with the 09 movie.
Yeah, you didn't need to know anything about the characters because you were introduced to them for the first time. Into Darkness was their attempt at a Star Trek II Wrath of Khan remake, which was horrible.
Wait, they already did a remake of Wrath of Khan. It was called Nemesis.
Let's not talk about that movie.
But Into Darkness was not that good of a picture. It still grossed pretty good at the box office, but mostly because it was riding the coattails of the 2009 movie.
Yes.
So they came out now with a third one, Star Trek Beyond, which was probably the most Trekkie movie I've seen since Undiscovered Country.
I think First Contact did a good job.
That just felt like a 2-parter episode. I mean, it was a real Trek movie.
The Next Gen movies did feel like 2-part episodes.
With
bigger budgets.
So Star Trek Beyond, however, just kind of broke even at the box office. People were burned out thanks to Into Darkness. I don't think them seeing Kirk riding a motorcycle helped anything. It just kind of But the movie was terrific. Kind of like Solo. It was a good movie that just didn't pan out well at the box office.
Solo now on Netflix.
Which, there you go. But now Star Trek 4, which allegedly was going to have Chris Hemsworth come back as Kirk's dad somehow, some way, some form, is dead, possibly due to casting problems because they couldn't get Chris Pine to sign a contract. Mm-hmm. And supposedly Chris Hemsworth was not keen on coming back, and so he didn't sign a contract either.
I've also read somewhere that the contract with Bad Robot's coming up.
Oh, they were supposed to originally do 3 movies.
Right.
A trilogy.
If that's the case, and especially if CBS and Paramount do reform, there could be more stuff related to that. You know, the Klingons were changed because they had to for legal reasons, because there's a division in Star Trek. But if they actually bring everything back together, that could want to do another reboot or go back to the original continuity.
Now, the reason why we say this is rumor is because Paramount has not yet commented. However, this is the most damning piece of evidence right here. S.J. Clarkson was supposed to be the first female director in the franchise's over 50-year history.
Movie director, maybe.
Movie director. But she's now signed on to direct the Game of Thrones spinoff after she, quote-unquote, recently became available. That got that on Deadline. Recently became available. How about that? So now people are saying, yeah, there goes the Star Trek 4th movie. So no Kirk, no director. Yeah, it sounds like it's pretty much gone. Now, keep in mind that that's just the movie side of it. Star Trek Discovery Season 2 comes out this week, as we just talked about. Now we get word about the Picard series. So we know that Sir Patrick Stewart had signed on to do something related to Jean-Luc Picard, the character from Star Trek The Next Generation back in the 80s and the 90s. I mean, Captain Picard was one of the most beloved captains of all time.
Make it so.
A lot of people were saying, Kirk or Picard, Kirk or Picard. It even made it into a Weird Al song.
It made the cover of TV Guide.
Yes, it did. So
White and nerdy, right?
It was white and nerdy. Very good. All right.
I love Weird Al.
On the straight out of Straight out of Linwood.
Straight out of
Oh,
Linwood.
yeah.
There you go. So, but nobody knew anything about the Picard series. Is it going to be him manning the Academy as the commandant? Is he going to be on the bridge of the Enterprise again? What's he going to be doing?
Is he going to be in the vineyard?
Will he be in his beloved vineyard? We don't know. Well, now the Hollywood Reporter has spoken to Alex Kurtzman, who's going to be the director of the series. And he said, quote, Picard's life was radically altered by the dissolution of the Romulan Empire. So we know now that it's going to take place after the 2009 movie in which Romulus was destroyed by a supernova.
In the exposition part of 2009.
Yeah. So that's gone. The Romulan homeworld is gone. Now the Romulans are one of three big races in space at this time. The three biggest. It's us, the humans. It's the Klingons, and then it's the Romulans.
How dare you, sir? It's the Federation, which is made up of many different species across the alpha and beta quadrants.
Shut up. So it's us. We're the big three. There's some other minor races in there, but we're the big three. So the Romulans are the ones we know the least about. We barely saw them in the original series. We didn't know that much about them in the Next Generation series, and the only thing we knew about them in DS9 is that they came in and saved the day, helped save the day there toward the end. That's about it.
It's a fake.
There you go. All you DS9 fans will love that one. So we don't know that much about them, except now Picard is going to have to deal with the fallout of this supernova. Now, in the movie, I hope I'm not losing people here, but in the movie, according to Spock, the supernova took place like near the center of the galaxy.
Around that, yes.
So that means that this supernova probably destroyed more than just the Romulan homeworld. It probably destroyed more than a few star systems. So, I mean, we're talking maybe a couple dozen planets gone.
Now, according to Memory Alpha, which is basically the Prime Universe
The Wikipedia.
canon timeline of Star Trek, that happened about 9 years after Nemesis, right?
Okay.
Well, now we're 17 years after the release of Nemesis.
So
Or
that'd
16
be
years
about right
in real time.
as far as the timeline goes.
So now when this was announced, nobody thought it was real or not. And now that when news come out, I actually got a quote from Avery Brooks.
Oh, good.
About the series.
Avery Brooks playing Captain Benjamin Sisko.
And it's real. It's real. Oh, God.
Nice that he's subtle about his quote there. That was very nice of him. This kind of hurt my head thinking about the paradoxes that we may run into here. But supposedly, Spock going back in time isn't going to change anything with Picard and his future.
We may have to do a bonus show about the different ways.
We'll need a Venn diagram, and charts and graphs.
We've made a commitment to not dwell in the minutia.
Yes,
on the radio program.
That's true.
So we may have to do a bonus show to dwell in the minutia.
So Kurtzman had to pitch this to Patrick Stewart, and he said that Stewart threw down an amazing gauntlet and said, if we do this, I want it to be so different. I want it to be both what people remember and what they're not expecting at all. Otherwise, why do it?
Agreed.
So Patrick Stewart wants us to be so incredibly different and yet memorable at the same time. Gee, Star Wars fans, does that sound familiar at all? That, sound anything like, your Luke Skywalker and your Han Solo and something radically different yet memorable at the same time?
However, he must pull his tunic down at least once per episode.
Oh, he's got to do I'm sure Jonathan Frakes would love to see Picard do the Riker maneuver or do the Picard maneuver once or twice an episode. That'd be pretty cool. So, I don't know. I'm torn on this. On the one hand, different is good. Different can shake things up. On the other hand, you have a character so established. We know everything about Picard. It's like knowing everything about Luke Skywalker. We do. We know everything about him. And now they're going to make it, quote unquote, so different that it will be what people remember, but also not what they're expecting at all.
We know everything about Captain Jean-Luc Picard. We know nothing about Ambassador or Admiral Picard.
Couldn't they have someone be under his take someone under his wing kind of thing, and him just watch over them?
Possible.
I mean, that would be a way to change it, but still keep Picard as Picard, couldn't it?
Possible, but I think the way that I've been reading this is that it's really going to be about Picard.
Yeah, and odds are it's going to be dark.
Well, yeah, dealing with the Romulans.
Now, Alex Kurtzman has basically become the Ron Berman of this generation. He's basically the head of Star Trek now.
Pretty much, yes.
With
I would agree
when
with that.
Brian Fuller left Discovery, it was on Alex, who was actually a writer, I believe, for the other 3 movies. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
So he kind of has the reins.
Because Berman was Gene's handpicked successor, basically.
Now, the only good news about this that I can see is that Patrick Stewart is 78 years old. He's going to turn 79 this year. We probably are not going to see action Picard like we saw in those god-awful next-gen movies.
It's your show, so I can't fire you.
So, for instance, because everyone knows I'm not a Star Trek fan, and you said like this guy is going to be like the writer. You said the main guy.
No, Alex Kurtzman is basically the head of Star Trek for this generation.
Is he going to be like Stephen Moffat for Doctor Who?
Basically, yeah.
Okay. So I'm trying to compare to understand.
Yeah, and all of this is going to be streaming. In fact, now we also get news that they're going to have more Star Trek animated series as well. We could see as many as 6 or 7 Star Trek series on the CBS All Access.
Don't tease me like that.
At the same time.
Don't tease me like that.
With Young Justice, Outsiders?
Well, think about how we talked about all the Marvel series that were coming out at once. We could have something like that for Star Trek.
That'd be interesting.
Which is beyond unusual, no pun intended.
Star Trek Beyond Unusual.
Star Trek Beyond Unusual, no pun intended.
New show right there.
I mean, Star Trek is used to having one series at a time. That's it. There was one exception, and Voyager kind of came out when DS9 was closing down, but wasn't quite gone yet. So this is Star Trek fans. Just get ready for this. Brace yourself. This is going to be way, way different than anything that you've experienced before.
And if CBS is looking for an new After Trek host, once my voice comes back, I'm available.
Oh God, yes, please.